This is the NiteSite NS200 night vision unit. Now, we've been using these on our air rifles while out hunting for the past 3 or 4 weeks, and we've had some fantastic results. But we don't just hunt with air rifles, we've got a broad range of equipment we use when we're out. So we thought we'd try it on the rest of the equipment in the Team-wide armoury. Now, we're going to start off with this, which is our Ruger M77 Predator in 223, our normal foxing rifle, and try a variety of things, building up the calibers until we get to this, the Haenel RS8 Sniper Rifle, handsomely modelled by Keith Anderson. If it can cope with that, it can cope with anything. The NiteSite unit is designed so that you just need to shoulder the rifle in a heads-up position, and you can view the crosshairs of your day scope on the unit's LCD screen, which easily mounts on top of the scope. Once we've built our targets, we set about our task. So, Keith is going to take a 3-shot group using just the scope without the NiteSite fitted, and then he's going to fit the NiteSite to the scope and then use that to view the target. And we're going to see if there's any difference in his ability to group and if the NiteSite copes with the recoil. So now we're going to set up the NiteSite unit. Now it's very simple and straightforward to set up. There's a clip which fits over the tube of the scope, and they've developed a special clamp for rifles that recoil that prevents the night vision unit itself sliding off the bracket. So that fits over the top, followed by the illuminator screen unit. Next thing is to pass the bolt through the housing and locate it on the bracket. So that's the screen unit itself. It has the illuminator and also the screen. Next, take the adapter that's relevant to the eyepiece of the scope and slide it into place. Then the camera unit, this unit here. Attach the video cable and the power cable, and you're ready to roll. All very simple and set up in a matter of minutes. With the NiteSite, there's no need to remove or re-zero your day scope, or to recalibrate any part of your system. The NiteSite just sits alongside what you already have. Through the screen, it's possible to get a recognisable image up to 200 yards away, but for that, you need to hold it reasonably still. Something Keith is struggling with as he wriggles into a comfortable shooting position. But he gets there in the end and makes a good shot.
What do you think of that one?
You know, I think you shoot better with the NiteSite than without.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I have said from time to time that you do need hearing aids. Maybe you need visual aids at the same time. Not bad, fella, not bad at all. So we've just seen that Keith can shoot better with the NiteSite than he can shoot without. But that's with the 223 Remington. Now we go for something slightly bigger. This is a Ruger Gunsight Scout in 308 Winchester. It's got a 16.5-inch barrel, so there's going to be a bit more kick to it. We're also shooting 185 grain Lapua Megas, the same bullets that I use for wild boar. Let's see what it can do with this. Well, this one's slightly different. I take it this is without, so this is just with a scope,
Yeah.
which is about 3/4 of an inch. Still a pretty tidy group. And then here with the NiteSite, 2 in the black, and then 1 just slightly outside. So that's still about 1.25 inch group. These squares here are 1 inch squares, although it might look bigger, that's a much tighter group but this is still mean to dead fox. Not too bad. So you did pretty well with the Ruger Gunsight Scout. It's in 308 Winchester, but it's got a 16.5-inch barrel, so there's a little bit more kick to it. So now we'll try him with something a little bit punchier. This is my Ruger M77 All-Weather. It's probably my favourite rifle at the moment. 22-inch cold hammer forged steel barrel, composite stock, classic Ruger action with a Mauser non-rotating type extractor. Now this has been out and done some pretty cool shooting with me over in Germany and Hungary, taken some wild boar and some roebuck. I know it's grouping on my thumbnail, but the 3006 Springfield cartridge is a little meatier than the 308, but I'm pretty sure the night vision unit should still cope with it. Let's see. Using the Ruger M77 All-Weather without the night sight, Keith groups his shots at just under an inch. With the night sight, he's even tighter and in a straight line. Both groups are off to the left, but that's just how the rifle's grouping. That's some pretty decent shooting again from Keith. The next rifle on trial was the Ruger American. This rifle is new to the Ruger lineup and at just 600 quid is set to take the market by storm. It comes with a 22-inch hammer forged barrel, composite stock, Ruger's new power bedding system and the Ruger Marksman fully adjustable trigger. Okay, so here we are. Now here is without the night sight, just with a scope. And once again that's just under an inch. And here with the night sight. But even then that's maybe 1.25 inches, so it hasn't made a significant amount of difference. Although the group is in a slightly different position. So how did you find shooting with the American?
There's a bit more felt recoil with it, for sure, and the actual weapon sits back a little bit. But again, once you just got a grip of it and get your head up off the cheek piece and get into that stream, it feels okay.
Yeah. This is actually tighter than I've seen you group with your own rifle, so...
Yeah, I wonder if you could talk them into making me an actual rifle scope. So, seeing as Keith shot so well with the other Ruger rifles, we're letting him have a bit of a treat. This is the Haenel RS8 Sniper Rifle in 308 and the awesome Zeiss 6-24x72 FL Uberscope. This thing is huge, this rifle is bigger, and I don't think he's going to feel as much recoil, but he will be smiling when he pulls the trigger. Let's see how he does. You might be wondering why I'm holding the NiteSite unit. Well, I forgot that the Zeiss 6-24x72 comes with a 34mm tube, whereas the NiteSite NS200 comes with fittings for a 25 and 30mm tubes. So we're not going to be able to tell how it reacts to recoil, but we'll still be able to see if he gets a decent sight picture. Okay, so what happened here then? This is your first group. Were you kind of leaning over to one side? I don't know, it kind of strong a little bit.
I can see it kind of stretched out. But this, unbelievably, is with a night sight. So once again, you've got a tighter group with than you do without. And this is with me holding it Star Wars style. You could pilot a drone in the Middle East from using a TV. That really is incredible. That has to be probably one of the tightest groups I've ever seen you personally shoot.
Thanks, pal.
No, you're welcome. It can only get better, I suppose. So that's 5 rifles that Keith shot today, all with and without the night sight. And he's had some pretty good results. So Keith, what was it like shooting the 223?
223 was really nice to shoot. The heavy barrel on it, I think, made it a bit more stable when I was shooting. Not a lot of recoil through it, and when the night sight was fitted onto it, it was really great to shoot. I really enjoyed that. I think good foxing setup that.
So, and then after the 223, we came on to the Ruger Gunsight Scouts in 308. Now that is a little punchier than the 223, but still didn't look as if it was affecting you too much.
Yeah, it definitely is punchier. There was definitely a little bit more felt recoil. When I was very surprised when the scope went on. It was a nice clear picture, and it shot really well. It was nice. And once you get your head up away from the cheek piece and away from the back of the camera, you can get some good results with it.
Now we saw from the camera it was a little bit more wobbly, but then when we put the 3006 on, then you could definitely tell the recoil on the all-weather.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a good bit more recoil and there's a lot more bullet there. But again, it shot well, and I think the night sight handled it pretty well.
Yeah, but when we moved on to the Ruger American 3006, 6.25 pounds the rifle itself in that in the composite stock. Now you could tell that was even more punchy.
Yeah, I had to when I was shooting that, I was kind of holding it with the forehand, trying to pull it down a little bit, as well as getting it gripped in tight to me, so that when I shot it with the night sight on, it wasn't jumping all over the place. And again, I think it did pretty good.
Yeah, I thought, in fact, I think that's probably some of the best shooting I've ever seen you do.
Well, if it was a fox at 100 yards, it was dead.
I think if it was a fox at 200 yards, it was probably still
totally dead.
Maybe 250.
I wouldn't get that far.
No.
It's just me.
So, we've had a great day. Clearly, the NiteSite NS200 unit does work with full-bore rifles as well as with air guns. All you need to do, same as if you're shooting an air gun, you need to be a little bit more careful with your position. But all in all, as soon as you get those crosshairs on the target, what you're seeing through the camera is exactly what you'd be seeing through the scope. So all we need to do now is take it out a little bit later and see if we can bag some Charlies.